Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you are new here. My name is Janelle and I make both faith-based and lifestyle content here on YouTube. Happy 4th of July. As I'm filming this, it is the 4th of July. So I've been going through the book of James. I already posted a Bible study of chapters 1 and 2, so go ahead and check those out. I'll have those linked below. Today we are going to get into my favorite chapter, which is chapter 3. Chapter 3 is broken into two parts. The first part is about the power of the tongue. Now, the power of the tongue is something that the Lord has convicted me of very strongly, and so far in two different ways. The first time I read this, I was truly convicted to stop cursing. I cursed a lot in my everyday vocabulary, telling a story. I wanted to add emphasis. Like, it wasn't out of anger. I never really was that type to be mad and just start cursing. My cursing was more just matter of fact, telling a story. Now, that doesn't make it any better, but just so you know kind of where I was before this conviction took place. And now I find myself saying all the silly things that I always thought was so lame of other Christians. And then as of lately, the Lord has truly been digging into this conviction of gossiping, and especially in the workplace. I did talk about this in my last video. So taming the tongue can be both things, right? It's like, what are the words that are coming out of your mouth? Are they vulgar? Are they curse words? Are they nonsense? The Bible even tells us not to just speak nonsense. All right, so chapter 3, we're going to start off with honestly the first verse. Verse 1, not many of you should become teachers, my brothers and sisters, because you know that you will be judged more strictly. Now think about preachers, pastors, etc. Like, you are essentially showing a group of others the way to Christ. So you need to be very, very careful in what you're saying if people are looking up to you in regard to their faith. For we all stumble in many ways. If someone does not stumble in what he says, he is a perfect individual, able to control the entire body as well. And then there's two examples that we have here. So first, a horse. If we put bits into the mouths of horses, we get them to obey us. Then we get to guide their entire bodies based on what they put in their mouths. And the same as a ship. A ship is so large, but there's a small little rudder that they are steered by. This is where we tie it all together. So too, the tongue is a small part of the body, yet it has great pretensions. Think about how small a flame sets a huge forest ablaze. And the tongue is a fire. So in these few verses, we see that the tongue is such a small thing, but it holds so much weight. And remember in Matthew, it says, it's not what we put into our mouths that defiles a man, it's what comes out of it. It is the words that we say. The tongue represents the world of wrongdoing among the parts of our bodies. It pollutes the entire body and sets fire to the course of human existence. And I just think it's so interesting. I mean, we'll get into this in the next two verses, but how it's so hard for us to control this small little part of our body. And it says this in verse 8, for no human being can subdue the tongue. It is restless, evil, and full of deadly poison. With it we bless the Lord our Father, and with it we curse the people made in God's image. Isn't that crazy? With this same tongue, with this same mouth, we're praying to God, giving him all the glory, we're worshiping, we're singing, and then the next day, or just in a matter of a few hours, we're upset at work, we're talking bad about somebody, we're annoyed with our manager, we can't believe our parents brought us up this way, we complain and we gossip and we slander. With the same mouth. From the same mouth come blessing and cursing. These things should not be so. A spring water does not pour out fresh water and bitter water from the same opening, does it? Can a fig tree produce olives, my brothers and sisters, or a vine produce figs? Neither can salt water produce fresh water. This is such a big one because, we focus on our faith, and we have faith in God, and we trust him, and we've given our life to Christ, and we've been saved, and some of us have been baptized. And then we have our works, right? We're helping others, we are in the word day after day, trying to live like Christ, but then we have this tongue that we can't control. And I'm there. I'm right there, because it's like I'm doing these things, I'm serving the Lord, I'm finding gratitude in the little things, but then I'm bitter in the workplace and I'm gossiping. And that seems to be one of the hardest things to control. Christians do this all the time. They're like, oh, pray for this person. Can you believe what he's going through? It's one thing to talk about issues, and it's another to gossip and talk about other people's issues. It's very different to say, hey, pray for this person and what they're going through, versus, can you believe it though? I know we should be praying for him though, because that's the right thing to do, but can you believe it? Day after day, we need to constantly be intentional and rely on God for this. When you enter a conversation, ask the Lord to convict you the moment that gossiping starts, because that's what started to happen to me. That's a little bit different now. Every time somebody comes to me to rant, to talk bad about somebody else, it just happened this week, I start to feel that conviction. The Lord's like, make sure you respond correctly. Don't go into this conversation and start gossiping back. So that's what the prayer should be at first. First, if you find that you're just not even thinking about your gossiping, pray for that conviction. Say, Lord, show me when I'm starting to gossip. Show me when somebody else is gossiping when I'm in the room, so that I'm aware, so that I see it. I want to see the truth. That's the thing, right? The enemy blinds us from the truth. We don't even see these things. And gossip is one of them. It's so common that we don't even think anything of it anymore. So ask the Lord to set that conviction in you, and then to help you respond if somebody comes to you, right? I think I've basically read that entire passage because I feel like every verse just really added something, right? I mean, I could say that about the whole Bible, but you know what I mean. So then the next section is about true wisdom, and it starts at verse 13. Who is wise and understanding among you? By his good conduct, he should show his works done in the gentleness that wisdom brings. The gentleness that wisdom brings. I don't know about you, but ever since coming to Christ, I feel like I have a much more gentle, calm spirit about me. I am way slower to like get angry or lash out if I even do, right? Whereas before it was completely different story. Sorry, there's a bunch of fireworks going off right now. It is the 4th of July. People are getting prepared in the morning. Now let's go to verse 14. But if you have bitter jealousy and selfishness in your hearts, do not boast and tell lies against the truth. Such wisdom does not come from above, but is earthly, natural, demonic. For where there is jealousy and selfishness, there is disorder and every evil practice. I don't think I started receiving wisdom from the Lord until I let jealousy go. Until I said, I don't care if I don't have the body that this person has. I don't care if I don't have the face or the money or the house or the confidence. That was a huge one. There was somebody that I was just like, oh my gosh, she's so carefree, she's so confident, she has no stress, and I envied that a little bit because I was so reserved and sometimes I felt a little too type A. I did struggle with jealousy in many different areas, and until I let all that bitterness go and said, God, take that away, none of it matters. What matters is how I'm following the Lord day in and day out. It does not matter what anybody else has. It doesn't matter what I have. I want to be content with where I'm at. I want to work every single day to get more and more like Christ. I'm not envious of who this person's dating or if this person's dating or that they have parents that seem to be functioning better than mine. It does not matter. Once you put away jealousy and selfishness, selfishness is the other one, right? We want it all. That's why we're jealous, because we want that. You have that, but I want it. Honestly, be happy with the blessings that the Lord has given others. And if they're not of the faith and they're boasting and they're selfish and you're looking at somebody like that, just know that they either will come to Christ or there's going to be punishment. So there's just no reason to be jealous or selfish about anything. There really isn't. Now let's talk about what wisdom from above actually looks like. Verse 17. The wisdom from above is first pure, then peaceable, gentle, accommodating, full of mercy and good fruit, impartial and not hypocritical. Imagine a world like that. Imagine a world where everybody was gentle, good fruit, right? Meaning serving each other, doing good works for others, full of mercy, accommodating somebody. And the fruit that consists of righteousness is planted in peace among those who make peace. And that wraps up chapter 3. So overall, going back to taming the tongue, try to do this yourself. Like, if you are somebody that is still cursing and you think, it's not really a big deal, it's just a word, be careful. That's what the enemy does, right? It's just this. It's not a big deal. That's not gonna do anything. I'm sorry, but it does. When you're cursing a lot, you just find yourself more bitter, more angry. Just release that negative talk. Release those words. They don't need to come out of our mouths. Matthew also says, let your yes be yes and your no be no. You don't even need to say, I swear. Even if it's not, I swear to God, don't say I swear. Just say yes, just say no. Make your speech pure, gentle. You don't need to add emphasis like I thought I was doing, using foul language or using vulgar talk, right? Sometimes, you think it's funny, you're in your teen years, even in college, you talk vulgar, you make vulgar jokes. We all found it funny, right? But try to let that go. There's nothing to be embarrassed about or ashamed about when it comes to your relationship with God. Honestly, like, whatever you are struggling with, He knows, and He just wants you to ask Him for help. Let's practice taming our tongue. Let's practice clean speech, no gossiping, even ranting, right? There's a really blurred line between I want to communicate my feelings and I need to vent. There's a different attitude and different heart posture in those two things. And that's what, a lot of people say, well, Christians, they don't want to talk about their feelings. They just want to act like everything's good. That's not necessarily true. There are Christians in therapy, Christians in counseling, and Christians that go to friends and family when they're facing something. It's important to do that. What they don't do or should not do is every time somebody does them wrong, the first thing they do is pick up the phone, call their friend, can you believe what just happened to me? That's what we don't want to do. What we do instead is turn to God right away and pray immediately and say, God, help me in this situation. How could I have handled this better? If you're in the middle of the situation, help me respond. Help me understand where this person's coming from. So I think I'm going to wrap this up here. I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm sorry if the fireworks were distracting at all. We have 2 more chapters to go through. I might put them in one video, but we'll see. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Give this video a thumbs up if you did like it, and I will see you next time with another video. Bye.